Hi guys, my name is Thato. Welcome again to my YouTube channel. Please don't forget to subscribe, to comment, to hit that notification bell, and to also like our videos. Guys, please don't forget to subscribe. We are seeing a lot of you watching our videos, but subscription dololo. So please let's subscribe. So today I am with the beautiful queen. Thato. Thato, I am with Thato here, and we are going to talk so much about what she's doing. You know, I don't bring people on the platform just in J. We talk about the work, the amazing work that they are doing. So Thato is one of the mentees.
Thato Mphuthi is the founder and director of Enabled Enlightenment, an organization whose purpose is to raise awareness and inspire positive change in matters relating to disability. Thato started being actively involved in spaces of activism and serving the community in 2015 under the campaign called 1 in 9, and she has since then grown to explore other avenues of serving her immediate community and the country at large.
Yes, I feel like the mentees, the mentorship program brought so many people in my life, and it got to open a lot of, things that I did not know. So yeah, Thato is one of the mentees. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
How are you? I'm blessed and highly favored. I'm good. I'm grateful. Finally, we get to shoot.
Guys, Thato is so busy. If you want to see how busy she is, go to her Instagram page. She is so busy. It's been a while trying to organize this, but finally it's happening.
Happening, guys. I'm excited. I can't wait. I'm nervous,
Here we don't relax. You relax. We are chatting. It's just a chat between,
just a conversation.
Yes. Okay. No, ignore the camera. It's just you and I talking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you call yourself, you are Thato, hashtag also well known as AKA Bedson Zabalazo, AKA the Crutches Girl.
You see.
So tell me, why do you call yourself the Crutches Girl?
So Crutches Girl really comes from, I was always called Crutches Girl growing up, but it had a negative connotation to it. Mm-hmm. It was other kids, trying to make me feel some type of way about being different. So as soon as I started accepting myself better, loving myself, and still taking, that negative thing that people, placed on me, or how people viewed me, and turned it into my advocacy, it started shaping my own narrative, how I viewed myself, how now the world receives me. It started off as a very negative thing where people are teasing you. If you walk into a space like, I'm looking for Thato, who's Thato? Oh, Crutches Girl, but now I've owned it. Yes, I am Crutches Girl. I mobilized with a crutch, and now I get to tell my story, using that very same name, which people thought, they were trying to break me, but it actually helped build the brand and build who this girl is.
Let's talk about that brand, since all you've mentioned it and your story. Those that don't know you, you are a founder and a director of Enabled Enlightenment.
Yes.
It's an organization that deals with matters, anything that is related to people living with disability. So can you maybe take us through the story? What is your story that led to the inception of your organization?
So I can't get used to being called a director. It's still such a new concept
You must
for me.
own it, girl.
You
Own it. Imposter syndrome is a disease. You must own it.
It really is. But enabled enlightenment really is inspired by my lived experience, and part of the reason why we do the work that we do is I never had an older sister stand up for me. I never saw someone like me on any, media platforms. I never knew that people like me, and I'll continue to say people like me, taking up different spaces. And part of the existence of enabled enlightenment is to affirm that a young child with a disability to say, Thato did it. Let's find out how she's doing it, so that so it creates a ripple effect, and we just take over the space and ensure that we're promoting the inclusion of persons with disabilities. Because I strongly believe that if we remove all the barriers, we can have an inclusive society. So it is just to affirm every young person with a disability, to give hope to parents who have children with disabilities, to say, look, yes, my child may have limitations, but with the right kind of support, they can actually be anything they desire, or so that's why enabled enlightenment exists.
But where did it start? Because I know for you to even get to opening up for it to even be an idea, where did it start? What is your story that has led to the organization?
So Thato was diagnosed with TB at the age of 8. I remember it was 8 going on 9. Because I had started having like a very funny mobility. I just started limping, and then now it started becoming more. My back was aching, my right leg was getting shorter, than the left. Now I'm almost like deformed, for lack of a better word. And then I started, going to like the doctor, the clinic, and ultimately, they then diagnosed that I had TB in my right hip. I know each time I say TB, people are like, isn't TB for the chest?
Exactly, because
right?
I mean the HIV field, so we talk about TB. It affects the lungs.
Yes.
So
but there's actually like a number, like different types of TB, and they affect different parts of the body.
Oh, okay.
So I happen to be amongst one in like 150,000 people who got diagnosed with, and it's just like those special cases, especially back then in 2003 when I was diagnosed. And literally that's how my life changed altogether. I was able to do stuff, and then now there were all the limitations. Sure. I was very dependent on my crutches at the time. I was using both crutches. I was dependent on other people. I was dependent mostly on my mom. And it just really changed a lot of things, because remember, I was in mainstream schooling. My doctor was saying that I needed to go to a special school, but I didn't want to go to a special school because of the stigma that existed.
With,
there was a lot of stigma. I mean, I also at some point was I was perpetuating it. If you're seeing an Adelaide Tambo school bus, you run after it, and then now thinking that I also would have to be, in that bus, and then I did not, for that reason, I didn't want to go to special schools. Grateful for my mother who supported that decision. I continued with mainstream schooling, which came with truckloads of challenges.
I can imagine.
My class was upstairs, and remember, I fairly know how to navigate using crutches, so when I'm at school, I'd go upstairs like in the morning when school starts, and I can only go down after school because I could not, I struggled with walking. I got to experience bullying. I got to be shamed. Other kids would even take my crutches, and I could not, I literally couldn't do anything. As much as now I can stand and just do a few steps without my crutches. At that time, it was fairly new. I had just recently been operated. It was such a nightmare. Went to high school, the teasing, the bullying, it got worse. And my condition was also not getting any better. I remember I got I'll call them surgical boots, but the one boot was like flat, and then the other one was
I've
like
seen
really
those,
big.
yeah.
And also because my leg kept getting shorter because of this
Sure.
condition. And you imagine now you're in high school,
You have to wear those shoes.
you have to wear those shoes. It's already hard enough that you are the only one who's different in the school. Now you come with another layer of having these funny shoes. I used to call them I didn't like them. I remember when I got them, I cried my eyes out because I already knew how people were going to receive them. And trust and believe, it happened exactly as I had envisioned it. And the bullying went on, and I think the biggest thing was that my educators did not pick on it, because academically I was performing. I was that child. I was doing everything.
Yeah.
Until the one time we had like an art project and we needed to write poetry. So poetry was like my safe space, a safe haven for me, because I could not necessarily express what I was feeling to people, but I do it through writing. And I did a poem, and that like just raised, the bell. And a bit, things started changing a bit, because now the issue of discrimination and the bullying was addressed, So it is a collection of all these different experiences, really, that shape then the existence of the organization. I've been faced with structural barriers. I've been faced with so many things. Even when I went to college, like your infrastructure-wise, it wasn't accessible. There's literally everything standing in your way not to make it as a person with a disability. But with support, I don't know, trusting God, and just I fight, and it's tiring. I fought for everything. I fought for every position that I find myself in, because in as much as you may be a great leader, you may possess great leadership skills, but people would first see the crutches before they see the leader in you. So I constantly have to fight for my voice to be heard. And then I got into the space of activism. Things started changing a bit. But still there wasn't a sense of urgency when it came to issues or matters of disability. And that really bothered me, because this is an immediate struggle for me. And if we're saying we are activists, and I say, but I can't access public transportation, and yet I need to be at different, places, and you're like, oh no, you want special treatment, or, just getting this. And I'm like, so the need for, our voices and our stories to be told just is what really pushed and enabled what enabled is today.
So, because you've mentioned special treatment, and I'm wondering, where do you draw the line for a person that is not living with disability? Firstly, let's correct this. Are we saying a disabled person or a person that is living with disability?
So we say persons with disabilities.
Persons with
yes,
disability.
We don't use the living with disability.
Okay.
So that's like the correct terminology that you use. So it's either person with disability or people with disabilities.
Okay.
And I think the issue really with language around disability is really, the problem begins in how you say it. You can say it you can say it, but I can see that you're saying it, and you are not trying to belittle me or make me feel some type of way. Then I can forgive you. I can pardon you for the language that you used, and take that moment to educate you, to say, actually, this is how I would like to be addressed. But there are some people who would like, these disabled people. It already comes with a certain kind of attitude. It's demeaning. So we how we address people, it's people with disabilities or persons with disabilities. Yes.
Not living. Because the reason I'm asking, I know I was part of a civil society organization, and in the civil society you've got sectors.
Yes.
And there was a sector for persons with disability. Yes. So I remember in the meeting yeah, one of the guys from that sector was very passionate about correcting people with that. So I forgot. So that's why I'm very conscious to ask, and educate people that don't know, so that we correct where we need to correct. So back to my question, where do you? Because you spoke about special treatment, where do you draw the line in terms of? Because I can imagine, I'm speaking maybe for myself and other people.
Yes.
If I want to extend my help and assist you,
Yeah.
you'd want to do that. I'm sure you've gotten the question a lot. Ne? So you want to extend your help and assist this person. However, also you don't want to come across as if you are making them feel like they're not capable.
Yeah.
So where do you draw the line, and where do you sometimes feel like this person is not helpful, or this person is making me feel incapable of doing this, and I've got this.
Yeah.
I mean, for those that don't know, we just got up the stairs because of drama.
The traumatized guys and funungacho, the trauma.
Drama. So just to be open and transparent, I felt like, can I carry her back or whatever, but like you don't know.
Yes.
Should I leave her to go ahead or assist?
I mean, assisting is great, right? But it goes back to that thing of how are you assisting, and there's this ideology really that people have that we need help. And it comes from a place of guilt, and I say it comes from a place of guilt because of how it's done. Like it's almost like moto wa tutumela, like
I need to make sure everything is perfect.
No,
you can do that for yourself.
We can do that for ourselves. I usually ask if I need your help. If I don't, I will not ask you.
Okay.
So it's just really a communication thing and understanding personal space and consent. We often talk about consent only when we're talking about issues of sex, and but that also coming into my personal space.
That is an interesting way of saying it.
Because I mean, I've had a disability for 19 years this year. I mean, are you telling me that for that 19 years I haven't gotten any skill, I haven't learned anything? So it's just do it with don't feel bad, don't feel guilty. Just ask, hi, can I help you? Do you want any assistance? And if someone says yes, you can assist. And if they say no, please don't feel bad. It's not, you don't take it in a bad way, but I'm trying to help, and it's just that literally I've got this. If I can't, I'll ask, and then I'm able to do it. I mean, I've had instances where, say we're just chilling, if I don't have my crutch up like this, it's on the floor, and I want to stand up, and then someone just picks up my crutch. I'm like, I can do this. I know how to do this. Our immediate response when we see someone with a wheelchair, for instance, we want to carry them out of their wheelchair, but this person has gone through rehab, maybe, for instance, and they were trained to say, if you are transferring from a car to your wheelchair, or from your wheelchair to your car, this is how you do it. So you know how to, unless this person is like, maybe I'm experiencing pain, right, and I'm not feeling strong enough, kindly help me, then we do that.
So we must ask.
Yes, it's just about asking, really, more than anything.
I think it's to remove that perception that I mean, because when you're saying it's a personal space and you must ask, it's the same as I would want people to respect my personal space and to ask if I need help. So I get it now. I get it. Okay. So you are a busy woman.
I'm trying to do better, guys. I'm trying to do better.
She is very busy, but busy doing amazing things.
Yes.
Enabled Enlightenment has been everywhere. You've won awards. You are a global advocate. I think you deserve that title.
Yes.
So please own it.
I own it.
You are a global advocate, and you did say earlier that you are also trying to represent a young Thato out
Yes.
there, you know,
Yes.
that does not have the platform, you know, to share their struggles and the experience, and to also, you know, remove the misconceptions within our community. So I want to talk about, you know, those misconceptions that since you've been, you know, exposed to talking to different kind of people in the platforms that you've been to, the communities that you've traveled and worked with, what are some of the misconceptions that you've come across, and that, you know, we must kill them now here in this platform?
Oh, this is my favorite one. You can't be in a relationship. You can't have sex. You can't have children. You know, and really this comes from, you know, the ideology that people have that as a person with disability you should be asexual, meaning you should not, you know, be engaging in any sexual activities. You shouldn't be in a relationship. I mean, I even see it with my partner when I am with him, when we're together. In 2022, people stare, you know,
Yes.
and I'm like, guys, it's not necessary, you know. If you see a woman, for instance, on a wheelchair and they are pregnant, what do?
Yeah, you'll be like,
Njani?
how? Hey.
Forgetting that in as
Yeah.
much as you may have certain limitations, but you're still human and you still need to experience everything
have
that
needs,
human,
you know.
ma'am, please, yes,
He's got
you know.
needs.
So that one, I'm just like, guys, we siyajola, we get married, we have children, and these limiting beliefs really are part of the reason why we find that as a young person with a disability, you can't access contraceptives, you can't access termination of pregnancy if you want, you can't get like basic sexual and reproductive health services, because now if I walk into a room full of other girls, they will judge me first. Like, what are you doing here, Sisi? I've
Like
had
you
this
don't
experience. Like, you don't belong here. You know, already imagine getting that vibe from other young people your age. By the time you go see a healthcare provider, it's like, haini, you
Are
know?
you even going to get there? Because I mean, if you're in such an environment, you might as well, you know, stand up and leave.
You know, yeah. So that's like one of them. And another one we've spoken about already is the special treatment. People with disabilities who want to be treated special.
Yeah.
We're not wanting to be treated any special. We don't want to be treated any different. But all we're saying is we need to have reasonable and accessible accommodation, right? If you are an employer or you are planning to employ a person with disability in your company, in your organization, in your small business, you need to make reasonable accommodation. When I talk about reasonable accommodation, is that you need to be cognizant of things like maybe it's not viable for Thato to work you know, from the office, for instance, but having them work remotely would work. But let's find a way to also bring them into the office. Things like sponsoring their traveling, you know, expenses. Because I, for one, am one of those people who are not using public transportation because of comfort, it's not really accessible, and a whole lot of other things. So I'd use e-hailing, for instance, you know. And also the fact that people with disabilities don't want to work. You know, like people believe that no, people with disabilities don't want to work. They want things, you know, to always just be given on a silver platter, and that's not true. You know, and I say it's not true because what I've seen is that a lot of people with disabilities are placed into learnership after learnership. Sometimes you'd even find someone on 3 learnerships all at the same time. You know what I'm saying?
And I mean, they should be treated as everyone else. You progress after learnership, you are employed. You get a contract or, you know, permanent job.
And it does not happen like that. And a lot of times when we have people with disabilities in our organization, they must do their admin. Yeah, they must do their admin, and that's it for them, you know. And you find that workspaces are also not very inclusive. You know, you might be a person of short stature. The photocopy machine is this high. what then happens, you know? So it's just really trying to look at different things and realizing that how do we navigate this space? How do we make it comfortable for Thato with their limitations to feel like they are welcomed into this place? Another misconception is that this one irritates me. You have a disability because your mother was promiscuous, or God is punishing your parents. And it's not true for me. It's not true, you know. I mean, I acquired my disability at a young age. Someone is born with their disabilities.
Yes.
You can get into a car accident right now and acquire a disability, or you can fall on those stairs and acquire a disability. So what are we trying to say, right? So all of these little beliefs are a part of the problem why we are not progressing in terms of inclusion.
And I think, you know, a lot of things would change. If I was listening to a podcast the other day, Bumili was one actually, and she was saying that you know, a lot of things change, or a lot of things, the way you view things changes as soon as when you see Thato, you can then say any day something can happen to me to end up like Thato, you know, because then there's compassion, and you know, you want to understand where Thato is coming from, because I don't think if we can all view, you know, everything in the world like that would be so mean, because that is being mean. You know.
That's people are mean. We are coming for you.
We are coming for you.
So I think those are like the most common misconceptions that we have.
Sure. So what are you doing to you know, to, because I know you mentioned workplace. In terms of your advocacy work, do you ever go to workplaces? Because as you are saying what you're saying, I'm also, you know, thinking, vela no, in most workplaces there's no, you know, a small printer, or even if it's small, it's put on a table. You know, you still can't access it. You know, so how is your connection to workplaces in terms of, you know, dealing with the myths and the misconception in terms of accommodating people with disabilities?
So what we usually do is we do trainings and workshops. We've had quite a few with civil society, you know, organizations where we come and we train their staff, and we sometimes assist them in terms of recruitment, you know, finding people with disabilities. Because another thing is they would say, yeah, no, we need to have people with disabilities, but we can't find them. You can't find them because you are not looking for them.
Every job advert has people with disability can apply.
You know, but I'll just hold that thought. But there's something that I wanted to explore specifically with that part. So what we do is we offer trainings for literally any institution. So this is a paid service. We don't do it for free. It's a paid service. What people would do is to reach out to the organization and then let us know how many people they need the training for, and then we can tailor it to, you know, different spaces. If it's civil society, if it's like corporate, if it's, you know, churches, because we also because we also do like trainings within churches, because what we find is that a lot of persons with disabilities don't like going to church as much, because when you go into church, someone feels Subana, I must just show off how great my God is, and then they want to start praying for you and making you feel uncomfortable. You know, so those are some of the, you know, uncomfortable conversations that we're also having with pastors. And it's like, no, but you have little faith. No, it's not that I have little faith, but let's do it in a nicer way. You know, not you trying to prove a point or anything of that nature. So yes, we just train.
And I mean, you can ask, like you are saying, it goes back to asking. So you can ask for prayers if you want prayers.
Right?
Yeah.
Thank you. I hope y'all are listening. If we want prayers, we will ask for your prayers. So yeah, people can just like really reach out to Enabled Enlightenment either via Instagram DMs or send an email to the organization, and then we'll respond. They let us know how many people they want to be trained. And yeah, with Disability Awareness Month coming up real soon, we will be running out of slots. So people should start booking.
Booking now.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you said you wanted to go back to Thato.
Yes.
I'm reminding you.
So thank you about that. So you know how they would say this post, people with disabilities are encouraged to apply, but when you're looking at the requirements in terms of education, they have like such high, high requirements, and I find that to be very problematic because number one, people with disabilities are not starting on an equal footing with people without disabilities. I'll make an example whereby for a Thato to get into a special school and get education, they might have to be on a waiting list for like 3 to 5 years because there's very few schools and there's like a big number, of us, and already if I'm like 3 years behind, I might even be discouraged to even, continue with schooling, and you still find that some higher education institutions are not as inclusive as they say they are or as they show themselves, So I would say we need to review what is our scoring in terms of if we are recruiting people with disabilities and there are those who have not gotten the formal education, how do we find a way to bring them back into the ecosystem as well?
Okay. Because I was about to ask, so I think maybe we need to go back to the schools to say, do you think we need more schools for people with disabilities, or the system itself is structured in a way that it cannot include, everyone at a go? Because I wanted to say, when you mentioned that they need to review the education, because when you're saying education, my mind was like, hold up, but people with disabilities are also smart. They are going to school. But now you explained it to say because of, the process of getting into the special school, it's quite difficult. So do you think at a workplace they need to review the job requirements, or we need to go back to the systems in place in the special schools to be able to accommodate, them to be able to come into the school at a given time, like a normal school, if we can put it that way?
Why are we not integrating people with disabilities in our schools, right?
Yeah.
Understanding though that there are some disabilities that that are different. For instance, with autism, I'll make an example with autism. I understand that children with autism, for instance, would need like extra, support or extra care and all of that. But my thing is, let us integrate, find ways. We are innovative, most. Find ways to make that whole education system work for us so that we don't have their school and our school kind of thing, right? And support educators as well to give inclusive education. Because I think if we addressed inclusion from that level and discrimination from that level, whereby I go to a school and in my school we have another Thato who has or who doesn't have a disability and I have a disability, already I grow up understanding issues of disabilities and I'm able to use my voice as a person without a disability to say, hey, you can't use that parking bay because it's not yours.
I like that,
there are ways to make this thing work instead of othering us again to say, go to your school. There's only 5 of these schools, for example, and there's maybe so many of us.
Yeah, I like that because also I think, yes. So it will start when you start them young. They understand from a young age, which ultimately sorts out the societal issues that we have. Because I'm here, old as I am, I don't know a lot about people with disabilities, So, yeah. But do you see us getting there? With the
Yes.
work that you're doing, are you seeing any progress?
There is progress. I am seeing progress, and I'm really grateful for this, because as soon as we started doing the work around starting conversations, uncomfortable conversations about disabilities, people call us in to say, we want to do a program for young people. How do we make it? How do we then create a space for, people with disabilities into this program? So we review programs as well, help them set them up to say, okay, if you have this number of children with disabilities or youth with disabilities in your program, this is how you might have to go around it. People now are starting to have that conversation about disabilities. People are asking more, because whereas initially it was just like, but now people are starting to have these conversations because we are here, like we are just pushing every other day. And I think that was part of the reason why I was inspired to start this, my Crutches and I blog, where I'm just sharing about the journey with my crutches, and sometimes I just really use my social media. I mean, I've went from gold to red to pink, and just for people to get it into their head to say, look, these people exist, they're here. So it just needs a mind shift and the willingness, to create those kind of inclusive spaces.
Yeah, guys. No, I like this conversation because it's also an eye opener for me, and I'm sure for our viewers as well. And that you've turned what was a negative viewpoint or perspective, and you've turned it into something that is helping a lot of people. And I think also because you spoke about bullying, when you speak about bullying, it's bullying is attached to a lot of things, right? But we never associate bullying with disability. We never do, because when you speak about those the shoes, I know when we were young, we were always, Vela being mean.
Yes.
Or even if it's not, our peers in the school, but anyone in the community would be like, and you wonder, So I'm glad that you're opening up for us to have uncomfortable conversations.
Yes, please.
So where do you see enabled in enlightenment in, let's say, 5 years? When you are saying Thato has achieved her mission, her vision,
I'm getting goosebumps. Even.
What does a society that is inclusive of people with disability looks like for you?
An inclusive society looks like having proper representation. And when I say proper representation, to say in as much as we have disabilities, but we should also, be mindful that we are diverse. I may have a disability and I'm queer, or I'm gay and I'm lesbian, and so it comes with different layers to also understand that Jonga babes, we are queer and we're disabled and we're here. So it shouldn't come as a shock, right? To create that thing to say there's diversity as well, even within the space of disability. But I think the ultimate goal is for enabled enlightenment to go nationally and ultimately go regionally. So that's like what we are trying to push at in terms of the work that we're doing. People must be ready to create inclusive spaces.
Yeah.
That's where we're going.
And in the schools, in the community, like let's start with the smaller or the lower levels that we can, like tiniest, like family, because stigma and bullying doesn't, it starts within your family.
Yeah, it does.
It's not a big problem only in the community, but even in the family, there are people that, and I think also it goes with education, right? It's not that people are forever intentional about being mean rather, but it goes with education. Sometimes, well, ignorance.
A lot of the time.
A lot of times it's ignorance. So starting there, family level, how do we assist a person that is living with disability, a person with disability, a person with disability that is existing within a family that have no idea how to, to deal with them or to support them?
I mean, truth be told, it's hard having a person or a child or a person with disability in your family. And I know this from lived experience where, I mean, how do you even begin to explain what happened to me, you know? And now this, because it also creates conflict because people are tired because you constantly have to care for this person. So for the family to support each other, number one, support each other throughout that process, and then find out to say, what is it that you would like to be supported, or how would you like us to show up for you, right? And affirm your child, disability or not, affirm your child. Tell them that when you are the next president, you are, because if they hear it at home, it hits different from if I hear that I will be the next UN Women Executive Director outside of home, but just kindness, be kind, be patient, because we are also trying to figure out what the heck, how am I even supposed to do life? I'm still trying to process, these emotions. And I would like to encourage people to go for counseling. Speak to a professional. It goes a long way. And I think I wish I knew that when I was younger, because I think the process of acceptance and healing could have happened differently, because in as much as, yes, I was bullied, but I also had my internal battles where I didn't think I mattered. I didn't think I was good enough. I didn't think I was beautiful. I didn't, that's how I ended up in isolation. And, just writing. The only thing I knew how to do was to write. That was the only thing that I was doing, because I had this battle, internally. And if you are looking within your surrounding area, there's conflict, because medication is expensive. You have to go to the physiotherapist, you're going to hydrotherapy, you have to see your doctor, you have to get medication. It becomes so tense within the household.
And they're trying to adjust, and in as much as you were trying to adjust, it was also a huge
it really was a huge
for
change.
them.
It really was a huge change. So in household, let us create that ecosystem where we are equally trying to support each other. And then for community to also support, just find out from your neighbor, what support would you like from me today? Maybe I can drive or accompany Thato to go for their monthly checkup, kind of thing, or I can accompany them to physio. I can accompany them. Just find out what the needs are and support accordingly. Because I think a lot of times when we talk about support, people think, you want money. No. Or just come check in and find out, how are you guys holding up? Just listen, create those spaces. So I think that's where community then comes in.
Yeah.
And then if we get it right at community, then it just creates a ripple effect. Because remember, in as much as we're community, we work, I do this, and with all of these things that I'm doing, I'm able to start having these different conversations, and pretty much everyone then is involved.
Sure. Okay. So would you say now, as you are, you because I can imagine the damage and the pain that the whole experience brought to your life, especially I can imagine, especially as an 8-year-old, and growing up to be a teenager, because young people can be mean.
Very mean.
They can be mean. So I can imagine. I mean, we used to be mean. We are not going to sit here and behave like we
I
are,
was also mean.
you know, holier than thou, but we also used to be mean.
Yeah.
So would you say that with everything that happened, you know, from the diagnosis to you, you know, having to change a lot of things in your life and the acceptance, would you say, are you okay now? You know, like does it get to you? Do you like, if someone comes in, because even our age, you know, can be mean, you know, so if someone comes up to you and they say something,
What happened to you? That's the most common one.
yes, what happened to you? So, or anything else that would be so rude and mean. Do you ever get offended, or you like, you know what, I work in the space and yeah, I've heard it all, it doesn't get to me anymore?
I'm human.
Yeah.
It gets to me all the damn time. Like all the time. I don't know how many times I cry. Like I cry all the time. Because it is so painful that you meet people and like, what happened to you? And I'm trying to think, how do I even explain to myself what happened to me? Because even I don't know what happened to me. You know, I mean, like, how is it that of all the children, I was the one who gets, you know, the diagnosis? You know, so it gets to me. I go out, and then people just come now, start wanting to take my crutch, and I'm like, you know, it gets to me because I am human. I may have been empowered, I may have been on different platforms, but it still gets to me because I am human. I feel, I allow myself to feel. And I think with all the different experiences, it's always a learning curve for me, right? I'm like, okay, what is it that we haven't done yet that we maybe need to do? Maybe this is how we need to message when we're talking about, you know, disabilities. But it really gets to me. My mother knows, like, I cry, and I think the only downside for it is that sometimes I can't even express to say this is what I experienced, because now I will come to Mati and Mati say, but you are so strong, we're not low trotter, you know. And I'm like, but at that point I'm vulnerable. I need you to just hold my hand and be like, how can I support you? What can I do? Or give me a hug, or just stay with me in silence. You don't have to have all the answers, because even I don't have that. Even I don't understand what is happening. And then guess sometimes I can't do anything. I literally can't get out of bed. I can't walk because I'm in pain.
Sure.
And I'm like, how? Even now, Mati, it's worse in winter. Winter is not my favorite season because everything just gets so crazy. And then I'm just there like, I can't walk, I can't get out of bed. I need to call my mom, you know, to come assist me. And it makes me feel very insecure. As confident as I am, but I get those moments where I really feel insecure. I feel like a burden. And I'm like, 19 years later, I still have to call this woman and be like, I can't get out of bed because I'm in pain. You know, so
it never ends.
It never ends.
Journey.
It's just a journey. I think I've just learned to take it on. But sometimes I just cry there when you're busy asking me weird things, because now it's just too much.
And I mean, I can imagine it's tiring to even answer questions, guys, on a normal basis. So I can't imagine how it means you have to answer them double. You know, the time that we feel invaded and we have to answer questions. Okay.
We need to breathe after that.
We need a breather. But yeah, you do it so well, Thato. I think you are doing amazing work and you do it so well. So even if when you don't feel like doing it, it's okay to sometimes, be in your own corner and deal with whatever emotions that come as and when they come. But you are doing it so well. And please don't make me cry. We are not crying here.
And we said no tears when we
said
said no
tears.
tears. And look at us, minutes later, chopping onions.
We are not
You know,
crying.
no crying, no
okay.
tears. But
So-
it's allowed. It's allowed.
Yeah, this is a safe space. It's allowed, but yeah, I think as and when you do what you do and you feel the way you feel, just know that you are doing it so well, and there are people out there that need you,
Yeah.
that needs you. But it's also important to listen to how you are feeling.
Yeah.
In that moment when you feel like escaping, you must escape.
Yeah.
No one.
Yeah. I'm going to Dubai.
Yes. Please escape.
Yeah.
So, let's switch gears and stop crying.
Please.
I know that you're also passionate about sexual and reproductive health.
Yeah.
Is that linked to, people with disabilities, or you are doing that in isolation?
So all our issues intersect, right? I focus, right, and prioritize young girls, young women with disabilities in terms of sexual health, sex education. But I then remember I was talking about creating inclusive spaces. I also have like an overall group where it's everyone, all the girls come. Let's talk about love. Let's talk about how we love safely, because I realized that my first sex conversation with my mom was very awkward, and I'm like, if as young as I am able to give young people factual information using edutainment, using a language that they understand, let me do it. Because Mama, you didn't do that great there.
You didn't do it well.
And also because of young people today are exposed to so many things. Young people are exposed to so many things, and if they are not getting, education from us as their big sisters, they will get it from all the wrong places, and it might even lead them to be in vulnerable positions, so sexual health care, and also maybe because, underlying don't only that I really would like to be a sexologist at some point of my life. Because I really love sex education. I love talking about pleasure. I love talking about sexual health, and usually people would look like, okay, what do you know about sex? I'm like, a lot. I'm really passionate about sexual health.
Okay, so you're working with a lot of young people.
Yes, with a lot of young people.
Okay, that's good. That's because I'm working with young people quite a lot in my workspace, and I know the misconception that they have about sex, and also I think the readiness of it. Because I always tell them that, listen, I can't tell you what to do, but you need to be ready. It comes with a lot of responsibility. And I'm one to vouch for delayed sexual debut, sex debut, but it's their choice at the end of the day, so they need to make informed decisions. So such spaces are very crucial for them to make informed decisions, because there's a lot of peer pressure that they deal with.
And also wanting to be cool. I mean, if all of my classmates have done it and I haven't done it, my God, now I'm gonna look like the boring one, and and they're not doing it for themselves. And I think part of the reason why I do sex education or just sexual health is because a lot of times in the conversations that we have with young people, we find that they don't know consent, and a lot of them who have had sexual encounters, they were not consensual. They didn't even have an idea. So imagine if you're equipped with all of this knowledge around your body, consent, what it looks like, you can make informed decisions. And unfortunately, in our families, in our households, we don't do that. But we come with them with fear. If like you utlamita. But you're not talking to me. Let me tell me about my body. Like, let's have that conversation to say, this is what your body does. This is what bodily autonomy looks like. This is how you should take care of your body. This is what you should do. And then they're able to make those decisions to say, guys, it is such a big thing that we talk to our kids about consent, because what I'm also seeing happen is that as parents or as relatives, from when we are very young, we are not taught consent. And it's a family gathering setting. I'll just make an example. And a 6-year-old Thato says, I don't want to be kissed by that uncle. And then you start shaming them. Why was about or but what we are not realizing at that point is like we are invalidating this child's feelings at that point. And if they get accustomed to that, say at the age of 6, by the time they are 14, a boy wants to touch them or do whatever, it's like
they can
no. So like consent is a conversation we should be having when kids are like really, really, really young.
Okay, Thato. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for being vulnerable with us, for trusting us with your story. I think it's an amazing story, and like I said, please keep going.
Yes, I will.
Keep going. Guys, if you want to reach out to Thato, she's doing amazing work. She can come to even your workplace to train you guys on disability, to train your employees. She can come to work with young people in your organizations.
Yes.
So I think it's about capacity building around issues and matters that are surrounding people with disabilities. So please reach out to Thato on Instagram. What is your Instagram handle?
@_Mphuthi Thato.
Yes. Or even on the Enabled Enlightenment page. So I want to close with a quote that I saw. When I interview people, I stalk them. I stalk them. So I think I came across this quote and I wanted to close our interview with this quote. You posted it on your Instagram page, and you were, I think you were nominated you got an award actually. One of the many awards that you've gotten. So this is what I want to close with you, our viewers, that no matter how much it hurts now, one day you'll look back and realize it changed your life for the better. There was purpose in your pain. And I think that is what Thato is exactly doing. She's using her pain to now drive it into purpose-driven missions, if I can put it that way. So just to encourage you out there that no matter how hard it is now, but like I said, and I always believe that there is no glory without a story. So you are still writing a story that will turn into glory one day for you and people out there. So thank you for watching. We love you guys. Don't forget to subscribe, comment, and like this video.